if you haven't seen the first one, you really need to. It lays the whole foundation for this one, where this one even has more substance once you've seen the foundation laid. But the first one I briefly go into. In 1992, I was in graduate school in my mid-20s, and a gentleman, an older gentleman friend of my father's, who was a famous writer, he said, could you go to, the communists are having a meeting at the University of California, Berkeley. This is the summer of 92. The Berlin Wall came down in 89. The Soviet Union dissolved in December of 91. So this is 6 months later. Like, and everyone, both sides are saying, communism is dead, it's done, it's over. And they're having a meeting. He said, would you go? I'm curious what they're going to say. And I said, sure. And so I went to this meeting. And as I went in, I had dressed really radical because I thought it was all going to be college radicals. Grew a goatee and had some radical shirt on saying something stupid. And so I went in there and I looked like an idiot. It was all 50, 60, and 70-year-old grandparents with briefcases, 1,500 of them. And they were totally focused. And they said, this is our plan. We're disappointed we weren't able to take the United States by force through the Soviet Union. The plan B is this. And they went quickly into how to take our families out, our moral fabric out, and destroy our businesses. And at that time in 92, when they laid the plan out, it seemed nothing to me. I was like, oh, brother, there's nothing I'm going to have to worry about. But then 16 years later, in 2008, I'm a representative in Idaho. And I started to think about that. I hadn't thought about that meeting in 16 years. I've been raising my family. I had a restaurant I was doing and different things. And I realized, wait a minute. All the stuff that was coming across the desk was they were talking about that meeting. They'd said, for instance, again, put yourself back in 1992. That's 23 years ago. They said the way we're going to destroy the free markets of America are by getting behind the environmental movement and making so much regulation, business will have to either leave America or they'll just be suffocated with regulation. They won't be able to compete. Well, in 92, that sounded like nutty because I was thinking, environmental movement's nothing. It's the people chaining themselves to the trees. It was just a radical, fringe little movement. It was not mainstream. But in 2008, when I was a representative, An Inconvenient Truth by Al Gore had just come out. It was the biggest thing going as it is today. It's the whole thing. Climate change. I mean, it was the entire thing. And I was like, how did they do that? And then the way they said they're going to just tear apart our morality. They go, America's evil comes from their biblical morality. I mean, they were pounding on the pulpits as if they were a great pastor, just with passion, and the way they talked about America, I'm sitting there, my mind's going, where do you live? I mean, seriously, this is the most evil country that has ever existed, just pounding on the thing. They enslaved the women in marriage, bam, and they try to have people morality so they can't have any fun. They're enslaved to some fake god, and I mean, just pounding the thing, and you're just like, and they're passionate. It's been the focus of their whole life, and most of them, like I said, were older, and it was crazy. But they said to destroy the fabric of America, we've got to get them to accept homosexuality. If we do that, all morality will disappear overnight. And again, in 92, that was like, that's not going to happen. You got to be kidding me. Look where we are today. And so that's why we made these films, because I realized if we don't do something, at least try to do something. God's blessed me with a lot of sweet children, and I realized those children are going to live in a nightmare. I mean, a nightmare. It'll make Red Child look like a joke by the time they're my age. And so I said, I got to do something. So that's why we made this film as a family. God blessed it in so many ways. And the final thing that it really put me over the top in making it, again, 16 years later, when I went back to study the people who set up that meeting and stuff, because I didn't remember. And so I looked through it, and this is the spring of '09. And Obama's just been elected president. He's in the White House now picking his advisors. And I went back and looked, who are the people, the leaders of that communist meeting I went to? I didn't remember their names. And I started looking them all up. And so many of them were sitting in the White House in part of his cabinet. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. We have a chart on our website. We don't have them with us here, but it showed these connections to Obama. I wasn't planning on talking about him. I'm not in the Republican endeavor. We're standing for truth. That's all we're about. I hope that's all you're about. The truth. The Republicans are going to represent the truth, then I'm for them. If they stop it, then I'm against them. We care about the truth, and that's all we care about. That's what Christians are for, is to uphold the truth, stand with courage for the truth, without compromise, regardless of the cost, and let the things fall where they may. God is in charge, and nothing will happen to us unless he allows it. Maybe he will allow that to motivate others to stand up and whatever. But anyway, so that's how all that came about. And I'll get to your questions now. I can talk more about that.
I'm going to ask you one more question.
Yes.
That didn't come through, I'm sorry. But here's the question I wanted to ask you, that I wanted to make sure people understand here. You had a good job, and I think you were in hotel work, some
Restaurant.
in a restaurant, and you sensed that God was tapping you on the shoulder to do this, what most people would say is a crazy thing, to make a movie like you didn't even know how to make movies.
Right.
But explain that a little